Hey, what's up everybody? Jake here and welcome to the hobby. My bad, I guess. I didn't realize we weren't done yet with these price increases. For modern Pokemon card products, you're seeing a ton of really sporadic jumps. These actually make sense. We've been talking about these for quite a while, but in today's video, I wanted to talk about some of the cards and products that have been making the biggest jumps, and these are my personal shout out. So if you have some other really cool cards that have been making waves in the hobby, I'm not really surprised. So let's check out what some of these cards are. The first card on the list, and this one I take full credit for making it jump in price, and that is the Lugia V alt art card, because in my last video, I said the art for the Lugia V was kind of weak. And a ton of people in the comment section chimed in and said that they think it's absolutely awesome. If you think it's a cool card, I get it, I get it. It just doesn't really fit inside of my personal aesthetic or display. It's a little bit more of a moody, somber card, so it doesn't fit with my collection. But if you like this card, I completely understand it. I think a bunch of people picked up this card just to spite me and to prove me wrong, so I take full credit for it jumping up in price. This card is currently going for right around $180 on TCG Player. That is a price jump of 65% from a 3 months low of right around $100 to $110. So this card was really only seeing a 20% price jump over the past couple of weeks. And then suddenly, as soon as I say that it's a weak card, everyone decides to pick up a copy for themselves just to spite me. So for this price jump, I take full credit. And if you can't tell, that was absolutely sarcasm. Some people brought up that I didn't really talk about the Umbreon VMAX, and that is the leading card for the whole entire Sword and Shield era. The big card for the whole entire Sword and Shield era. And I did say that I think the Gengar VMAX is another really cool card that I think has the potential to take the lead over the Umbreon VMAX. And instantly, everyone said no, it's not possible, because the Umbreon VMAX has also seen some really big price jump. It used to go for right around $500 3 months ago. Now you can find an ungraded copy going for right around $750. And for the PSA 10 copies, they are easily going for over $1,000. This is our first big $1,000 card from the Sword and Shield era, the first big one. There's some other ones that I think has a lot of potential to make that climb, but I think this is really cool for a big chase card inside of the Sword and Shield era, which isn't really that old. Let's be honest here, you can still find plenty of Sword and Shield booster boxes readily available on the Pokemon Center. But yeah, the Umbreon VMAX is going for over $1,000 in a PSA 10, and ungraded copies are floating between $700 to $800 for near mint copies. And this is a card that you are definitely going to want to get as close to near mint or mint as possible, because a little whitening can make a huge difference. That's hundreds and hundreds of dollars depending on those little whitening or centering. So for most cards, I'm not super picky about centering or issues. I think a near mint card is as good as any other card. But when you're talking about hundreds of dollars in difference, this is one where condition absolutely matters. Get the best looking Umbreon that you can get. This is a card that you definitely don't want to be picking up the blurry copy of that's going for $400 online, because it's probably going to be a damaged card. Some other really cool cards that are making big jumps, and this is another one that I definitely want to talk about, is the Espeon VMAX, because it's in a really fast climbing set, which is Fusion Strike. The Espeon VMAX is, of course, the cousin or brother or sister, however you want to call it, to the Umbreon VMAX. They're in different set, but I do think the Espeon VMAX is really cool. I personally prefer the Espeon VMAX over the Umbreon VMAX. The aesthetic just fits more with me. I don't have the Umbreon VMAX in my collection either, by the way. Once again, it doesn't really fit with my personal collection. The Espeon VMAX I do have, and that's because I just think it fits inside of my collection just a lot easier. So it's going to be dependent on you whether which one of these cards you collect. If you want them, I would say pick them both up, because they're both really cool, but the prices are astronomically high. These are peak prices and they're not stopping, so who knows, maybe these are going to be considered cheap prices in 6 months, but I kind of doubt it. I think the market has to cool down eventually. We just don't know when that price point is currently going to be. The Espeon VMAX was going for around $120 3 months ago, and it's currently going for $170. That's a 40% price climb. A little bit lower than the Umbreon VMAX. The Umbreon VMAX was going for a 50% price climb. So it's definitely following along the same trajectory but not as a staggering pace. Now I'll tell you what card is making a really big price jump, and this one I've been rooting for a very long time. I had it as an S tier card on my art tier list, so I'm really happy to see it making some big jump, and that is the Sleepy Dragonite. My boy Dragonite is finally seeing some major love. This card, at its cheapest price point, you could pick up an alt art near mint copy for 40 bucks. That was its cheapest point. It hasn't been at that price point for a long time. 3 months ago, it was going for right around 90 bucks. Now you can find near mint copies going for right around $170. That is a 90% price jump, and one of the biggest price jumps that we've seen over the past 3 months. I didn't mention it in my last video, so I definitely want to mention it in this video. The price increases have not really stopped. We'll see when they end up. Who knows? Maybe these price climbs are going to continue for the next month or two, and this is all we're really talking about, is how everything just is getting more expensive for a lot of these older cars that are pretty much going out of print pretty darn soon, if not already. So now those are the big cards that I wanted to mention. I also want to talk about the sealed products because there are 3 major sets that are making the big swings. These are the 3 sets that are making the biggest jumps. And you kind of see why. They kind of fit all in the same era, just because they're right around 2 to 3 years old. There's a couple of other sets that are chasing along these sets, but these are definitely going to be the big one. In third place, we have the Lost Origin set. Booster boxes was going for as low as $120 3 months ago, and I know this because I sold many Lost Origin booster boxes. Not many, but a couple booster boxes for 120 bucks 3 months ago, and they are currently going for $180, so that's a 50% price jump. I don't know why they're going for $180, because on the Pokemon Center website you can still find them going for retail price, which is right around $145 before tax. So if you want to pick up some Lost Origin booster box, pick up the ones from the Pokemon Center, because once in a while they actually give you a good deal, and this one is a decent deal now that Lost Origin is so popular. Next up, we got ourselves Evolving Skies in second place. It's not the fastest climbing set, but it's still climbing really rapidly, which is kind of a big deal because of how expensive it was. Lost Origin booster boxes were going for right around $450 3 months ago, and right now you can find them going for $700. That's a price jump of 55%, which is really huge for a set that is already quite expensive. For a booster box from going for $450 to $700 means people are still really excited to pick up this set even at that price point. So I think there's a potential that in 2024 Evolving Skies actually passes $1,000. I'm personally not going to pick up any more Evolving Skies for a bunch of reasons. One, a booster box is really expensive, and there's still that tiny chance that it gets a restock. And if it ever gets a restock, it would just be so risky. I wouldn't definitely do it. But if we don't get a reprint or restock of Evolving Skies at all this year, it's gonna go to $1,000. I think that's the obvious thing. But if you don't have one of these booster boxes inside your collection, I don't think you should pick it up. The risk is just there. The restock risk is just there, and it's not really worth it. So if you don't have one of these booster boxes, I would say you missed out on it. And that's okay. There will always be something else to collect. Don't feel like you have to collect every set. You know, I'm not going to go back and pick up vintage sets for $10,000. It's simply not worth my time or effort or the risk involved. So the last big set. This is the set that's actually making the largest jump over the past 3 months. And this one kind of surprised me, but we've mentioned it before, and that is Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is making some really big jumps. Booster boxes of Fusion Strikes were going for around $140 3 months ago, which makes complete sense because $140 is retail price from the Pokemon Center, but this set has since sold out on the Pokemon Center. It has not been restocked recently, and prices on Fusion Strike has absolutely skyrocketed. Booster boxes on TCG Player are currently going for $250. That means the price has jumped a total of 80% over the past 3 months. The biggest jump of any set in the past 3 months. Fusion Strike. When Fusion Strike came out, I don't think there were a lot of people excited for it because, of course, Fusion Strike came out after Evolving Skies, but I think people have definitely picked up that this is the next set to make climbs. There's a lot of cool cards inside of Fusion Strike, not as many as Evolving Skies. Some of the big ones are, of course, the Gengar VMAX, but there's other ones like the Espeon VMAX as well. So there's cool cards inside of Fusion Strike, not on the same level as Evolving Skies, but still a pretty cool set. But this surprised me. Of course, I picked up my Fusion Strike booster box for $100 back when it was released, so I'm pretty happy about that. But in general, this is really ridiculous for a set to be going this expensive. If you don't have a Fusion Strike booster box inside of your collection, it's still okay to pick one up. Would I personally pick up a Fusion Strike booster box at $250 right now? That might be considered dirt cheap in 2 or 3 years. However, if I'm someone that is really budgeting for my collection, then I would say this is out of my price point. I would start looking at some of the other sets after Fusion Strike. Sets like Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, even Lost Origin is a little bit cheaper than Fusion Strike right now, so I would definitely start picking up some of those other sealed products. It kind of makes sense that the alt art cards from these sets are getting more expensive because the sealed products are getting expensive as well. And you know, you really don't want to be opening up any of these sets nowadays. Something like an Evolving Skies booster box, I would hard tell you to not crack it open because you're most likely not going to get an alt art card. And even if you get an alt art card, there are alt art cards inside of Evolving Skies that have not climbed at all. Prime example is Golurk V. Golurk V is an alt art card inside of Evolving Skies. You might have never heard of Golurk V, and now you know why, because it's a $10 alt art card. You could pull a $10 alt art card inside of a $750 booster box. It's not worth it. How do I remember Golurk V? Because I pulled a Golurk V inside of my Evolving Skies booster box, and it stinks. It stinks. Not because I don't like alt art card, not because it's a cheap card, because let's be honest, I don't really care about the art, but there's such cooler cards. I could have gotten a Dragonite V, or a Rayquaza VMAX, or an Umbreon VMAX, which would have just been way cooler. So yeah, don't crack open any of these super expensive booster boxes. You can if you really want to and you want to burn money and it's not a big deal for you and you're just into it for the hobby. But if you're someone that's budgeting, I would say keep these products sealed inside of your collection, and they look great on display personally. I actually kind of enjoy collecting some of these modern booster boxes now. It kind of looks fun to me. I used to hate collecting sealed booster boxes, but it's kind of fun to have them on display, especially when you have a nice big stack of them and you can see all the different years going up and up. So I'm starting to change my opinion as a collector, and that's normal too. If you're someone that's been collecting for a long time, your taste and your idea on what you enjoy collecting, it's gonna change with time. You're gonna age out of some stuff. Cards that you thought were super cool 5 years ago are going to be less cool now, and cards that you think are really exciting now, you might have thought were terrible 5 years ago. Things change all the time, so you never know what the next big hot card is going to be. I'll tell you what though, Golurk V, that card is going to be super hot in 5 years. Everyone is going to want one of those, so definitely pick one of those up while they're cheap, going for currently $10 in near mint condition, the cheapest alt art card inside of Evolving Skies. Thanks for watching today's video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are there some other really cool cards that have been climbing up in value? Because my bad, I guess we're not done yet with the climb in modern markets. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.